This is something that everyone experiences, but can barely talk about for fear of being reprimanded or accused of misogyny. Those of us who have worked as managers and hired people know this as the truth. Hiring women is equal to hiring drama, negativity, needless politics, and sometimes the downfall of productivity, departments, and entire organizations. Don't believe me? Take a look around at your workplace. Ask your hiring managers. Ask human resources. Ask the CEOs. They will all tell you how risky it is to hire women. So much so, even women don't want to hire other women because they know it's the truth. When you're hiring women, you're also inviting more problems at the workplace, not just in terms of relations between employees, but also in terms of employee productivity and performance. Funny how the hiring quotas always seem to be for upper-level positions, never for ground floor, grunt positions. And then we all act surprised when these women don't fit the job, since they mostly have zero actual experience in whatever business they're in charge of. Jobs are temporary, but a ruined reputation is permanent, and all industries maintain blacklists, regardless of what they say publicly. The old 30 to 40 years with a retirement pension has gone the way of the 5-cent phone call. Always try to arrange your life such that you can cut and run from a sketchy situation at work at a moment's notice, if at all possible. Yeah, it sucks, but that's the current reality for men in the workplace. As a man, I've previously worked in teams that were nearly all or mostly women, and the majority of them were gossipy, overreactive, gang hut mentality, hen-pecking harridans. There are some great female workers out there, people who are genuinely a credit to their profession. But every time I have had an idea stolen that someone else has claimed credit for, and nearly every time I have been talked down to or openly criticized for something that isn't anyone else's business. And nearly every time an absurd overreaction or false claim has been made, there has been a woman behind it. The problem for men in these situations, whether it's a work environment or social interaction, is not only the system against men, but women clubbed together irrespective of what the truth is. It matters not that the guy is innocent and being falsely accused will lose his job, career, future prospects, and possibly financial ruin and reputation, confidence, etc. No. What matters is that you sisters stick together, all under the banner of girl power and covert misandry. I tell you, the more I study female nature, the more I see their deep-rooted jealousy towards men. This is an example I recently read about. There are certain organizations that men should avoid. Public sector, tech, PR, HR, etc. Leave them to stew because women are highly inefficient employees on average. I've worked with a few good ones, but most just suck the life out of a workplace and don't step up when the going gets tough. Companies have a major handicap. They have to make a profit to survive. I have seen female supervisors prefer men for new hires because they couldn't deal with all the BS that many, not all female staff pump out. I had a female supervisor who would scream at people for allegedly leaving work 5 minutes early, while she took every Thursday afternoon to vanish, along with the chief counsel, for a 10-minute visit to a client, and the rest of the afternoon for a wild time in a motel. From 2000 to 2016, when the chief counsel retired. Both were married to others, and yes, even after the chief counsel retired, they continued it, though both were, yes, married to others as well. In the last couple of years, we've all seen large global organizations lay off thousands of employees. We've seen COVID's effects on organizations as they realize they overhired during the pandemic. But the thing that you might not know is that most companies are on a hiring freeze when it comes to women. This might be shocking to know, and no company will tell you this, but more and more companies are avoiding hiring women to join their ranks. I'm not saying the tech companies I mentioned are doing this. No, not at all. But there are quite a lot of companies that are secretly trying to hire men instead of women. You see, over the last decade, and with the increase in the implementation of the feminist agenda, more and more companies were made to hire women by law. Companies had gender quotas that they needed to fill. They had a number of mandatory female workers that they had to hire as board members or regional or global heads of various departments, such as marketing and procurement. But all of that came at a price. Federal and state governments are plagued with countless female employees who are incapable of accomplishing their jobs in historically male-dominated positions. This is especially true in parks, forestry, law enforcement, and most outdoor conservation-type positions. They can't do what most men are capable of, yet governments continue to discriminate against us very capable and qualified male workers. The truth is that women in the workforce have been a global socioeconomic disaster. Women can choose to work or not. Men have to work. Women take up jobs that could have gone to a man. Women in the workforce are also a reason for wage stagnation. It's supply and demand. When you increase the labor supply, wages or the price of labor stagnates or even decreases. Men are afraid they're going to get fired. Another study that was conducted to evaluate the effects and consequences of the Me Too movement found that men are becoming noticeably less willing to approach their female peers in the workplace. According to the report, 20% of men avoid speaking to and interacting with female coworkers privately. A third or more of men stated they would be terrified to be alone with a woman in the study's primary research, which questioned men how they would feel if they were in the office alone with a woman. Why? Well, the main reason is that they just don't want to be in a situation where they're framed for any sort of allegations against them by the women. They don't want to lose their jobs over some women. And it's pretty easy for women to have a man fired from his job these days. It's just one email, call, or conversation away from human resources and senior management. Here's another truth. Men will always be guilty in the eyes of corporate authority. Nowadays, until you can prove your innocence, you are guilty. Men are most afraid of this. God forbid if a woman even alleges untruly that a guy harassed her at work, that man will lose his job, any chance of getting another employment in the future, along with his reputation and self-esteem. That is the enormous advantage that women have over men at work. The reality is that men would rather work more freely with other men. This only serves to demonstrate how increasingly wary males have become of women throughout time, especially in the last 10 years, and how much they would prefer to communicate and work with other guys. In cubicles, meetings, and boardrooms, they prefer to work with other males rather than women because they can share information, talk about ideas, and organize their schedules together. This is due to their fear of losing the career they have worked so hard to build over a long period of time. They may lose everything with just one unfounded accusation. In a society that primarily takes into account and believes what women say, one false charge could end up being the villain. Truth is that the typical attractive modern woman of today is out of reach anyway. In every movie you see, regardless of how recent or how old it is, the lead character is either the most attractive woman or the most attractive man who is incapable of wrongdoing and who works to uphold justice in society. The evil men and villains are always aged, gorgeous, scared people who look awful. It should therefore come as no surprise that neither men nor women would want to consider hiring attractive women, because if a woman made a false complaint against a man, everyone would assume that she was telling the truth. Everyone can see a guy trying to flirt with a beautiful woman. That is how it has always been. In reality, men just don't want gossip and overreactions from women. Women are also left out of the team's private and confidential meetings when important information is exchanged. For instance, if I had to share anything with a coworker in a cramped conference room alone, and I had to go with someone, I'd prefer to pick a man since I understand that inviting a woman into a confined space might seem odd to others. The adverse effects of Me Too are still being felt in the corporate sector, not just in America, but also in Europe, England, and other parts of the world. Men will continue to avoid working with women as long as they continue to overreact to the movement and level false charges against them that we constantly see in the media. There's no place for gossip and drama at the office, and unfortunately, that's what most women bring to it. And companies will secretly continue to avoid hiring women because they know the more women they have in the company, the more drama it will lead to, and the more its work and profits will suffer as a result. And this is why today, even women are avoiding hiring other women because they know what's at risk. Companies will not tell you this. They have to fill the quotas they have set for women. But they know they're suffering because of this and can't even talk about it openly. Thanks for watching Man Reacts. Show us your love and support by liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to the channel. And let us know your thoughts on this in the comments. We're always up for a healthy debate and discussion.